Welcome to Your Message Matters. This is a channel where we are going to be streaming right there on YouTube. I'm so excited that you are joining us today. And I wanted to just set this up to let you know what we're going to talk about. So if you already have your book finished, this show's for you because we're going to talk about what to do on a book tour. Like, how can you plan your book tour so that you get more eyes on your book? This is a weekly show, and it is Your Message Matters, everything that you need to know about nonfiction books. So we are getting ready to start on our Win-Win Women TV platform. You can view us in multiple places, and I just wanted to say welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've already written your book, congratulations. This is an exciting time for you to get more eyeballs on your book. So we're going to go ahead and start the show on Win-Win Women. And thank you so much for being a part of my life, for being a part of this show. We really care about you and you getting your message into the world. So we're just grateful for that. I'm going to go ahead and start the show here on Win-Win Women. It's very important that I click the record button. Here we go. So welcome to Your Message Matters. This is a show specifically for nonfiction books. We help you tell your story. We help you create your favorite book. We also help you figure out what idea should I write about, because so often people who are creative have a lot of ideas, don't they? So we do it all here, from getting your book done. I call that your preparation to get your book done, and then actually getting it done, publishing, promoting. And today we're going to be talking about that promoting piece, because this is a valuable part of your book journey. Your focus prior to promoting your book is all about getting a book into the marketplace, taking that idea and creating your content or your manuscript, making it so that it works for you with whatever your big picture is, whether you're doing a memoir or a how-to book or any kind of tool that will help another person with your story. These are the kinds of books that connect you to what you do. It connects you to a bigger picture of how you can absolutely change the world. I was reading a quote just this morning. I have this notepad, and at the very bottom it has quotes. And it said it was an anonymous quote, and it said something to the effect of, the crazy thing about those people who say they want to change the world is they are the crazy people that change the world. So if you're a world changer or just want to change somebody's world, you're welcome to be a part of this show, and we're so, so grateful for you. So I thought I would do this show on creating a book tour. If you remember back in the day, and maybe you've participated in something like this, where there is an author who usually is kind of famous, maybe an astronaut has written their memoir, or any other kind of book, honestly, that is John Maxwell style books, for example. He takes a book tour, and it's really funny. His latest book, Higher Ground Leadership, I believe it's called, or High Road Leadership, something to that effect. I'm sorry, I'm not well versed on his new book. It's just now coming out, and it is to help this divisiveness in our world. So whatever your message is, whatever your book is about, it is important, once it's finished and ready for consumption, to tell people about it. I mean, if they never hear about it, they will never read it, right? So we can create a buzz around this book in many, many ways. You've probably noticed, as I have noticed since COVID, this shift towards more things being online. Now, my mentor, John Maxwell, he does both. He does in-person events where he signs books for people. He also does online events. In fact, I was just watching one earlier well, as I'm recording this show, it's a Monday, and it was over the weekend. I actually have been having so much fun over this last 10 days or so. I've been house sitting and taking care of a little friend of mine, little Molly. She's a little Shih Tzu puppy. Actually, she's not a puppy. She's a little Shih Tzu old lady. But I was watching her for my family so that they could go and have fun on a cruise. So I was the babysitter, house sitter, take care of things while they're having fun, stay at home kind of gal. So I've been away and I've been having the opportunity to see a lot of more things that have really made me think about the value of this show and also the value of your stories, your books, and you changing the world. You know, so often we don't think we're the ones changing the world, but you can change the world one person at a time, can't you? I know that our message really does matter. That's what this whole show is about. Your message mattering, you mattering, your life experiences, and what you've learned, what you've gleaned in wisdom, and being able to share that with your book. So let's talk today about a book tour. What could you do to develop your book tour? What kind of planning goes into it? What kind of things should you think about? And this book or this show specifically is going to give you a good foundation for what you need to take your book on the road. And maybe it might be a virtual road, but taking your book on the road so that you get more eyes on it. I am thrilled that you are here today. I always love seeing you show up live, and you can show up live, of course, on YouTube, but also on the Win-Win Women platform. And I always love having people there to talk to because this live stream goes for 30 minutes, but there's an added bonus that a lot of people don't know about. There is an additional 30 minutes on the Win-Win Women platform. If you look for my show, Your Message Matters, you can come and talk to me for another 30 minutes. And this part is not recorded. This is a private conversation between whoever is there and wants to have a conversation with me and ask questions, just touch base. I would love to see you. So look for that, and I would love to see you there. So how can we set up our book tour? Well, before we ever take our book on the road, we have to have a book finished. So that's a given. You want to have your book with your message finished. Now, whether you offer it as a digital product or you offer it as a tangible product like a paperback or a hardcover, this really doesn't matter. You can drive traffic to what you are doing, what your book is about, and wherever your book is, whether it's on your website, whether it's on Amazon, or any other book platform, you'll need to drive traffic to it in one way or another. You see, sometimes we drive traffic and we pay for that. Those are paid ads. Sometimes we drive traffic to it by doing things. And so that's what we're talking about today is what things do you need to do to lay the foundation so that you're ready to take your book on the road. So these are the things that I recommend because you're going to need to take your book on the road. And generally speaking, you can be your own stage. Maybe you like to do Facebook Lives or go live on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok for that matter. Maybe those are your ideal platforms and you can create your own stage by doing that. but you might also benefit from getting on other people's stages. For example, my stage. Are you ready for my stage? Maybe so. I love interviewing authors. So if that's you, make sure you reach out to me. But there's some things that you need to think about before you're ready to do that. So let's talk about laying the foundation first. The first thing I think you really need to think about when you're going to take your book on the road is, what are your talking points? What are the specific things, the problem you solve, and the specific talking points that you can create from your book? So if your book, maybe your book is like my first book and you've got talking points already laid out. In my book, it's a topical book. Create butterfly moments, become the person you were meant to be is actually 27 topics within the book platform, within the book itself. There's 27 subsections to help you create the life that, or create the person you were meant to be. I sometimes start thinking of other books I've helped people with. So Creating the Life You Love is actually another book that I helped somebody with. We called it The Blueprint. I like that. The Blueprint, Create a Life You Love. In her book too, there are talking points that she extracted. I helped her do this because this is important. So if you want to get on someone else's stage, or you're creating your own stage, you're not going to hit talking points for everything in your book. What are the most important key points to your book? And if you know your talking points or your key points, these can be expanded or contracted. So if you get on a podcast, a lot of times they're 20 to 30 minutes long. Think about how many of your key points could you have a conversation about on a show like this one. We're 30 minutes. So I usually have an intro and an outro. I always want to make sure that people know where to find you if if I'm interviewing you, or if you're on my show. So you can figure that in a 30-minute podcast, it's going to run very similarly. You're going to have an intro and outro by the host. The host will probably ask you questions. Oftentimes, they will ask you, what questions do you want me to ask you? This is important for you to have an answer, a ready answer for that. They won't always ask you that. Sometimes they want to do their own research and ask you questions. Personally, I like to ask the person if there is anything specific they want me to ask them, because then you can use sound bites from the show and be able to promote your book, having shown that you are taking your book on the road and doing your book tour. So having those talking points ready is really important. Now, just as a rule of thumb, like for my show, I usually will hit, I want to say 4 or 5 talking points. I also have ready-made questions that I will ask if these are good questions for you. And so sometimes I have different kinds of guests on my show. Many of them are authors, but once in a while I'll have somebody like Kristen who talks about podcasting. And so my questions that I would ask my authors might be a little different than somebody who teaches people how to do podcasting. Whatever it is, have your talking points ready and questions that you think that person should ask you to bring out your talking points. Do the work for them. We are all busy. Podcast hosts and live stream hosts like myself, we love having guests. And some podcasters, that's all they do is have guests. So they're always looking for guests. And if you come prepared by doing their work for them, or at least part of it, they're going to love you because they won't have to invest so much time in what they're doing for the preparation of their show. So that is a really important thing. Another thing that you should have ready in advance would be some kind of an evergreen free offer to connect you to the listeners of that podcast. Now, make sure that you've talked to the host about this, because you don't want to blindside them and all of a sudden do some kind of a sales pitch of some sort, asking them to do something if that is not okay with your host. Make sure it's okay. Most of them will say, sure, if it's something that my audience can use, that it will help them, they're going to be on board with it. So think in advance of what kind of thing you can offer. Now, you can offer this just by sending them to a Google Drive, but you really want to connect with them later. Because if they're interested in following you and getting your free thing, whatever that is, likely they liked what you had to say and they want to connect with you. So I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but having a landing page set up for your free thing so they can sign up, and you get their name and an email. Don't ask them for a whole lot of stuff, because that makes people kind of shy away, especially these days. People are tired of being sold to. But you want to add value to them. You're not trying to sell them anything, not yet anyway. You may at some point want to sell them something, but right now you're just trying to connect. You want to get their email address. And if you set it up, like kind of the basics is have a way for them to get your free thing. Set it up on a Google Drive or somewhere, somehow where they can get it free. As you expand that idea, you could offer it through a landing page, collect their email address and say thank you, have a thank you page, and then deliver that thing through email, and you can link to it. Some way, you're going to have a way to deliver it. And then you can also set up a whole automation sequence that adds value to this person and continues the conversation. That would be like the plus, plus, plus version of offering the freebie or the connector. Some people will do like a little newsletter or a tips and tricks about something that they are passionate about. Anything like that that you can say, oh, by the way, you can connect to me this way and I have something free for you. They will want to take advantage of that if they are connecting with you on this book tour show, so to speak. You can do the same thing in person. You can have a QR code or some kind of way for them to get something extra if they meet you along the way in person. These are all great ways to connect, but the idea is to get their name and some way to reach out to them, preferably an email address, or maybe connect with them on a Facebook platform or some kind of social media where you know where to find them, so that you can reach out to them and offer something to them in addition to the free thing. Another thing that I think is really important is you need to have set up your request to be on somebody's show. Like, what should it say? So it might be an email, it might be a messenger message, it may be however you reach out to your podcast hosts or any other platform hosts. If you go to the Win Win Women TV platform, there are many shows for women, obviously, on that show. There's things from personal growth to business tools to my show, which is all about helping you get your book done and into the marketplace and getting eyes on what you do and how you change the world. So have a little blurb or a one sheet, they call it. This is a way for them to know what you're about. So you can have a little bit of a few bullet points about you as a person, a few bullet points about your talking points that we were just talking about, a few bullet points of how you help your audience or their audience, more like it. You can Google speakers one sheet. There's many of them on Pinterest, for example. If you use Canva, you can create one in Canva. And so it'll give you a lot of ideas, but you should be prepared as a professional now that you are a published author. I hope you're a published author. If not, keep working on your book and you'll need this show at some point. But have your one sheet ready. And another thing that I think is really useful is to have a sizzle reel. These are known as many things. It could be your book sizzle reel or book trailer, as they're called sometimes. This is just a little snippet of video that kind of shows the watcher, the person watching it, what you're all about in a visual sense. It shouldn't be too long because people don't have a lot of time. So start off with a bang and something impactful in the very beginning. So they're like, what? And they want to connect and speak to the problem that you solve. And I think you'll find that these are really fun to do, or get a professional to help you. But a sizzle reel is a very helpful thing along with your one sheet that you are ready to go. And these things will help people know that you are serious about what you do and getting this message into the world to help people. The other thing that I think you need to have as a foundational piece is your talk ready. So we talked about the talking points, but what are you going to say about those talking points? If I ask you a question like, why did you write your book? Or what is your book about? Or what is the key thing, the key thoughts, the key thinking, I started to say, the key thinking of how you help that reader within the pages of your book. Now, if you have a memoir type book, this is specific to that area of your life that you are teaching about. You're teaching the reader in a way where you're sharing your life story and helping them see the value of your journey so they can follow you on a journey so that they get help doing whatever it is that you've discovered along the way with what you do. So not only having the talking points in the form of questions or what you'd like to talk about, then have little blurbs ready to speak to those things. Don't go off the cuff. It never works well. People don't like you not to be prepared. So be prepared with your talking points and what you're going to say when you're asked the main questions that people almost always ask, and make sure that you communicate with the host about what you would like to be asked so that you are fully prepared. Some of the guests on my show are very, very prepared, and they freak out if I ask them a question that isn't on our script of things that we were going to talk about. So one of the things I always do is I let them know that I might go rogue. I want to prepare them just in case, because sometimes questions pop into my mind that I want to know about that author or about that author's book. And I might ask something in addition to their talking points. But I'm going to try really hard to make it easy for my listener or my guest so that my listeners get good value from my guests. So have your talking points ready with what you want to say. And now pull out your calendar and start scheduling what you want to do. First, schedule these things to work on them. But now you're going to start looking for places where you can be on stage. Now, a stage can be many things. It can be a live stream show just like this. This is a stage. You can go on physical stages, like look in your community of people who are looking for speakers. You might even go to networking events or nonprofit type groups like Kiwanis or the Rotary or whatever's popular where you live. There are many places who are going to want to be having speakers. And even if you are not on their stage, oftentimes you have an opportunity to stand up and give your little talk. And if they give a time frame, which oftentimes they do, it might be 60 seconds or a minute. This is really important for you to also be prepared for. Know what you're going to say. Teach one quick thing. Create interest. Ask a question. When I first started coaching, I would say, have you ever gone to bed at night put your head on the pillow and your mind starts tracing back the day and you wonder, what on earth have I even gotten done today? Did I get anything done from my to-do list? Did I get sidetracked with different things and I didn't get accomplished what I had set out to do? I used to talk about that in the very beginning of my talks because I help people figure that out. I help people be more efficient, be more purposeful, intentional, create a day that they will really enjoy their life and get the things done that they need to get done, but enjoy it along the way. So I used to hit them right off the bat with this idea that they could picture themselves going to bed at night feeling not very fulfilled because they didn't get anything done. Well, of course, they got a lot of things done, just maybe not what they needed to get done. So have your little blurb there, your elevator pitch or elevator talk or introductory talk, spotlight talk, have those things ready in advance. And then take your show on the road. You can go to podcasters. There are many, 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 did I say many? Podcasts looking for guests. Now here's a helpful hint. We all have our favorite podcasts. Well, maybe you're not into podcasts at all, but those who are looking for podcasts, we all have our favorites. I am a podcast fanatic. I love podcasts because my car is my university. I learn everywhere I go, and I love listening to podcasts that teach me new things, new ideas, and I have my favorites. They are top podcasters. But did you know there are many podcasters that might not be in that upper level that are still looking for people just like you to add value to their audience? Did you know that? There's thousands upon thousands. So look for the ones that talk about the things that you like to talk about, that help their audience with the same things you help your audience with. Go in looking for ways to add value to this person's audience, not to take away from what they do or how they do it, but to add to it, not take away. So I hope this helps you think about your book tour. And once you're ready to go, now start scheduling everywhere you're going to go. You have to start by asking or by doing, like just getting on Facebook or wherever you want to go and start talking about wanting to be a guest in someone's live stream show. Maybe even you could do blogs. That's not quite the book tour I was thinking of. I was thinking more of using podcasts, live streams, and in-person events to get the word out about your book, to get more visible. And make sure, if you do nothing else, I have a hard time remembering to do this. And as I have become more and more aware and more intentional, I'm finding I'm able to pull this off more and more. But I'm saying, it's so often when people teach to an audience, you're pointing this way, but all these fingers are coming back at you like, yes, Lori, you need to be doing this too. Make sure you take advantage of social media. If you are on a podcast, blast it out to your people and let them know you're on a podcast. This is a twofer. It helps you with your visibility, but it also helps that podcaster who's looking for more people to watch their show. So make it a win-win. Isn't that what we love on Win-Win Women TV? Yes, it is what we love. We really love it. Make everything you do a win-win for other people, and you will be very successful at all you do. So thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up today. And if you want to reach out to me, please look for my Facebook group, Write Your Book Now, Authors Helping Authors. That's where I hang out the most. You can find me on Messenger. You can look for my online platform, Lori at LoriRaupe.online. online is the email address, and you can look for LoriRaupe.online for my website. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know if this is helpful to you, and let's connect. Don't forget, I'm here every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come and be on the show. I would love it. I would love to talk with you. Thank you. I'm most grateful. Be a person that gets your message into the world. Because I know if it's in here, you want to get it out there to help others. It's just the way we're wired, right? Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.